Chapter 3, Not So Private Parts. My mother used to call vaginas oohoos. She was a very loose blackout drunk, so I think this nickname was derived from her repeatedly slurring, "Ooh, who's in there?" Or perhaps it was her identifying the most important use of her vagina, the ooze she got from sticking things in it. Either way, early on, she taught me and Sibi to identify this region of our bodies as dirty and sexual, nothing more. There is a clinical name for a vagina. It's vagina. Why not teach us that? No, we had to reiterate her psycho word that her crazy brain made up because it was funny. Way to humiliate, Mom. The thing is, I didn't realize I was using the incorrect word for it until I got older. I just figured everyone was snickering because I was talking about my private part, not because I was misidentifying it as a lewd sex noise. Looking back, it must have been funny for a group of day drunks to hear a 4-year-old say, "Mommy, my oohoo itches." But to the 4-year-old who eventually grows up, it was embarrassing to say the least. When I was very little, I became interested in penises. Perhaps my curiosity was piqued by my mother, who would draw pictures of them for me when she was drunk. They come in different sizes, she told me, amused by her own visual aids. Some of them curl up, some are long and skinny, some are short and fat. Some have foreskin, some are veiny, but all are ugly. I do not know what prompted this lecture. Did I ask? Possibly. It's also possible that my lonely mother craved a friend to talk sex with when she was high. Either way, I was curious about dicks. Occasionally, I'd shower with my mother. I'd stand at snatch level, staring face to hairy beaver, unable to look anywhere else without getting a face full of soapy water. I'd glance at my mother's vagina, which had dark hair covering it, contrary to the bleach blonde mane on her head, and I felt inferior to her. My vagina was immature, small, and bald. Her breasts hung slightly and her nipples were large and hard. My chest was flat, with 2 discolored circles randomly stuck on either side. I wondered when my body would start to look like hers. I never got to shower with my father, but I wanted to. See, he had a body I'd never seen. I was curious what his downstairs looked like. I wanted to see in person what my mother drew drunken caricatures of. I had heard so much about penises, but I'd never seen one in real life. I couldn't wait until I was an adult to see one up close. There was no way I could wait that long. I'd go out of my mind with curiosity. One day, when my father went into the bathroom, I felt a rush of bravery. Something told me I could get away with peeking at him while he peed. It could have been that he was in a good mood that day. It could have been that my mother was not home. It could have been a full moon. Nonetheless, I listened to my instincts and cracked the door open to glance. His eyes met mine, and I smiled innocently. He glanced down at his penis, then back at me. A wry smile crept across his face, as if to proudly say, "Yeah, it is big, isn't it?" My father's penis was big, and it seemed somewhat engorged. He held the base of it with one hand, but there was plenty more length extending beyond his grasp. A stream of urine spouted out like a rainbow into a pot of gold. I envied his ability to pee standing up, and so far from the target, yet hitting it perfectly. I felt naughty but grown up, like I shared a secret with my daddy. Now I knew what a real live penis looked like. I couldn't wait until the next time I could spy on him so I could see it again. Now that I knew I was allowed to watch, I craved it. I thought about it obsessively. That big, protrusive piece of equipment that allowed him to keep his pants up while doing his business. I was so jealous. I started trying to stand up mid-pee myself, but could never last a whole session without my legs starting to quake and then dribbling. And I was never brave enough to try to pee while standing facing the bowl. I mean, what was I, a sniper? In the summer, my friends and I would swim in our out-of-ground pool, which was an acre away from our house. No one could see us, and that gave me courage. I'd be all wet from the water, so I wouldn't care about a few drops of pee getting on my skin. I'd stand in the grass next to the pool, pull my bathing suit to the side, aim, and fire. My distance was amazing. The arc I got spanned 3 feet at least. The privacy, the freedom, I spouted just like my daddy. I loved it. I felt so powerful, so grown up, so dominant. I'd watch him pee twice more before my mother caught me. She yelled at me, but seemed embarrassed herself. My father defended me. "She's just curious." "Those are private parts," my mother scolded us. I guess she'd forgotten about her graphic artwork now that it was sober daytime. Matt and Christopher were 2 boys I grew up with. Our moms were friends and they lived up the street, so we saw each other regularly. One day, while they were over playing in the basement rec room, I asked them if I could see their penises. Matt retreated quickly. "No, I can't. But Christopher, you can." Christopher looked embarrassed but cornered. His older brother instructing him to do something meant he had to. I'll show you my private part, I coaxed, sensing his discomfort. Christopher, she'll show you hers, Matt reasoned, knowing he'd reap the benefits of seeing a girl's vag too, but without having to go through the embarrassment of pulling down his pants. Hesitantly, Christopher pulled open his shorts and let his tiny wiener pop out. I was amazed at how small it was. My father's was gigantic compared to his. I guess I'd been expecting them all to be the size of a full-grown adult's. It never occurred to me that a 6-year-old's penis would be proportionate to his size. Disappointed but eager to fulfill my promise, I pulled my shorts and underwear to the side to reveal my vagina to my friends. Christopher barely looked and remained quiet, ashamed to be involved in this activity. Matt was enthralled. Whoa, where does the pee come out of? He asked, leaning in to get a closer look. This part. I pulled on my vulva, stretching it out. There's a pee hole in there. Matt was extremely interested. Christopher, look, she's showing us her privates. But Christopher's interest could not be piqued. Not wanting to seem too easy, I released my pants, covering my junk again. Leave him wanting more, I thought. Maybe next time I can get Matt to show me his. He's older, so his will be bigger.